It is the 5th day of October, the year 2020, a special day indeed, especially for me. Some of you who know it is my birthday, so I celebrate myself. But of course, as we stay in that mood of celebration, we also celebrate our teachers. It is World Teachers' Day, and tonight we celebrate all the women and men who have dedicated themselves to see us through the journey of life from childhood to adulthood, before we even identify who we are and what we want to become until the time when we are where we are today. We celebrate all our teachers tonight. Happy Teachers' Day wherever you're catching this broadcast from. Welcome. This is KBC News Hour. My name is Serfine Achieng Ouma, and of course we have a lot that have been shaping the news in this particular day. We will be letting you know in our comprehensive news bulletin that begins right now. But before that, here are the highlights.
President Uhuru Kenyatta expresses keenness to develop bilateral cooperation between Kenya and Egypt. Jubilee factions on a coalition course as Kandara MP Alice Wahome and his Kiharu counterpart Ndindi Nyoro say they will not honor police summons over kennel chaos. And colleges across the country begin phased reopening for third and final year students on the day teachers celebrate their trade.
Once again, a very good evening. Thank you so much for creating time for us to catch the latest happenings in Kenya and beyond borders. My name is Serfine Achieng Ouma, and our sign language interpreter is Simon Karotha. We want you to be part of this broadcast at KBC Channel 1 is how you can interact with us on social media. Plus, we are also streaming this live for you. I'll be sampling some of your feedback as we progress in the course of this particular broadcast. Celebrate your teacher, celebrate whoever has played a pivotal role in shaping you into who you are today, and we'll also share that with our audience as we proceed. Now, to begin straight away with our top story, President Uhuru Kenyatta has expressed Kenya's great appreciation for its extended historical relations with Egypt, stressing the keenness to develop bilateral cooperation between the two countries. The president said Kenya seeks assistance from Egyptian companies working in the field of infrastructure, especially in light of the Kenyan Big Four development plan. The president visited Egypt to have bilateral meeting with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi.
President Uhuru Kenyatta was received by Egypt President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi at Federal Palace for bilateral discussions. President Kenyatta expressed Kenya's great appreciation for its extended historical relations with Egypt, stressing Kenya's keenness to develop bilateral cooperation with Egypt. President Kenyatta also praised the pivotal role that Egypt plays in the region in terms of maintaining peace and security, praising in this regard the Egyptian position aimed at achieving stability in the Horn of Africa and East Africa regions, especially during its presidency of the African Union. On his part, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi expressed his appreciation for the close historical relations, joint cooperation and unity, affirming Egypt's keenness to strengthen relations and consolidate strategic cooperation with Kenya in the various fields. Abdel Fattah also congratulated President Kenyatta for the election of Kenya to a non-permanent seat in the Security Council for the period of 2021-2022, expressing his confidence in Kenya's ability to fully represent the African continent as a voice defending African issues at the United Nations. On the level of bilateral relations, the president stressed Egypt's keenness to provide Kenya with its development expertise in the field of major national projects, especially in the sectors of infrastructure, housing, utilities and roads.
And now on to some Jubilee politics. Chaos witnessed in Muranga County on Sunday have put the two wrangling sides of the ruling Jubilee party on a coalition course. Members of Parliament allied to President Uhuru Kenyatta and Orange Democratic Movement leader Raila Odinga are accusing Deputy President William Ruto and his political allies of causing the mayhem that left two people dead. Leaders supporting the Deputy President, however, claim the violence was sponsored by the state and wants the International Criminal Court to send investigators ahead of the 2022 general elections. Have a look.
Following the Sunday morning chaos in Kenol, Muranga County, minutes before Deputy President William Ruto's visit, MPs allied to the Deputy President now want the International Criminal Court to take note of the happenings and send investigators. The MPs, led by Kikuyu legislator Kimani Ichung'wah, claim the state is sponsoring violence with the name of tainting the image of Deputy President. They claim Sunday's goons were hired by the state and protected by the police.
It is only bound to escalate if it is not stopped now. It is bound to escalate because they are intent on using violence to deter people even to the run-up to their planned referendum on BBI. They plan to use violence to force down BBI down the throat of Kenyans. They plan to use violence to balkanize us into ethnicities and manage the succession of 2022. And that is why we're asking the international community, and our plea today is that the international community, the International Criminal Court especially, may take note.
The people we are having today are not the people we had 50 years ago. People are very knowledgeable. Our people may not be rich, they may not even have jobs. But upstairs here, they are fine. They are very good. They know everything. They know what is happening.
MPs supporting the handshake between President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga on the other side are blaming the Deputy President for yesterday's chaos. They say Ruto's camp is planning similar violence in Kisumu, where he is scheduled to take his empowerment program.
We are aware that he planned, together with his members of parliament, the mayhem that took place yesterday in Muranga. Some youths were ferried from Kibra all the way to Muranga to cause mayhem by Nixon Korir, to cause chaos and to kill people. He is planning the same events in Kisumu.
What we witnessed yesterday was an action whereby the Deputy President, who is now sitting as the President, presided over a function whereby there were deaths. We want to say that is not something that you should be proud of.
10 people are today telling us we want to support the youths, we want to help the youth. How are you helping youth? You are in government for 8 years, you are sitting in the cabinet, you have all the powers to do policy in this country.
While Ruto's camp wants the Inspector General of Police to desist from using the police to play politics, the other camp is concerned why the Deputy President is propagating violence while using state resources.
We are not going to keep quiet when the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya is the one planning anarchy in this country. It should have been somebody else, but not the person who sits in the center of power. The person who sits in the National Security Council is the same guy who is planning violence in this country. It's very unfortunate
that what we are witnessing today is state-sponsored violence. And I have no fear of contradiction to state that it is indeed state-sponsored. If it was not state-sponsored, you would not be seeing the kind of drama the IG is taking us through.
A section of Muranga leaders, while condemning the Keno chaos, said they will henceforth be regulating political meetings held in the county.
Sisi kama viongozi wa Muranga tungependa kulaumu na kukemea hao viongozi wawili. Hao viongozi ni mjumbe wa Kehalo, Didi Nyoro, na mjumbe wa Kandara. Mkutano wa jana ulifanyika katika eneo bunge ya Malagwa. Malagwa, mheshimiwa wa Malagwa ni rafiki yetu wa Maua. Yeye hakuwa anajua, wanaenda wanafanya jambo wakiwa wamejificha, wanaita wageni na wanaambia wabunge kutoka hizo sehemu zingine wakuje na watu kwa magari ambayo ilikuwa imekombolewa.
ODM leader Raila Odinga in a statement called on politicians to stop early campaigns in order to end violence. Kevin Washira, Channel 1 News.
Now, still staying with that chaotic turn of events in Muranga, 2 members of parliament from Muranga County, Alice Wahome of Kandara and Ndindi Nyoro of Kiharu, now say they will not honor summons by the police over the chaos that erupted on Sunday at Kenol Town. This even as the families of the 2 youths killed in the incident call for speedy investigations and arrest of the perpetrators. Christopher Kariuki and Peter Mbodhu lost their lives after chaos erupted between 2 rival political factions ahead of a visit by the Deputy President William Ruto at a fundraiser at the AIPCA church in the area. A somber mood has engulfed this home in Kiandutu in Thika. Lydia Wangui is yet to come to terms with the untimely loss of her husband, Christopher Kariuki. Wangui narrates in disbelief the final moments she spent with her late husband, who had secured a job in Muranga.
Nilikuwa dhani kama hii kazi mtani kusafisha, nilikuwa dhani ndo ameitiwa enda safishe huko ndo apewe pesa. That is approximately watu 350 walikuwa watu wengi wakienda, na wote hata ukoulizwa walikuwa mambivu waenda kusafisha huko.
19-year-old Kariuki was stabbed twice on the back. The family is demanding for justice over the death of a man they describe as peaceful, loving and hardworking.
Nasikia uchungu sana juu bwanangu ni alikuwa tegemeo la familia, ni alikuwa kila kitu, kutoka kwa chakula, kwa nini, kwa rent, kila kitu ni alikuwa anategemea.
Serikali naomba ya kwamba yeyote ambaye anatumia mtoto wa mtu hivi kutumia ajinufaishe kisiasa, anatoa mapeni sababu anaona watoto wenyewe wana shida, na wale wanafanya kijiji ya Kiandutu ndio ya kutumia watoto wenyewe ati wakitaka kujinufaisha kwa kila hali, kwa juu kila jambo na wakati wake.
Sentiments shared by the family of 15-year-old Peter Mbodhu, who died in the same fracas. Speaking at their home in Kiangombe village, the family, still in shock and bitter, strongly condemned the misuse of the youth by a section of politicians.
Ngeambia Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, president wetu hivi, hii mambo angalie. Juu nasikianga kuna yule alishikwa ameua mwenzake na anapelekwa mbele na haki inapatikana ya mwenye aliuliwa. Sasa huyu asikuwe eti ni mwanasiasa, ako na nguvu, hata yeye angaliwe sana na sheria yenye inafaa kutumika itumike.
Two members of parliament from Muranga County, Alice Wahome of Kandara and Ndindi Nyoro of Kiharu, implicated in the incident, now say they will not honor summons by the police. The two, while absolving themselves from blame, say the police should first summon leaders who planned the chaos and who are well known to them.
I have not received any summons. I have only read Twitter handles, Twitter accounts. And I want to tell Matiang'i, Kenoti, Mutiabai, and huyo mwingine anaitwa Kebisho, I am busy, my friends. I am busy making roads in Kiharu, putting tiles in classrooms. I have no time to come and record statements.
If clearly we are going that direction, incidentally, I want to see the report that says it is me and the member of parliament for Kiharu that brought the people.
Wahome and Nyoro had been summoned to the Regional Criminal Investigations Office in Nyeri to assist the police with investigations following a directive by the Inspector General of Police, Hilary Mutyambai. At the same time, the National Transport and Safety Authority has summoned officials of two bus companies, Neo Kenya Mpya Commuters Limited and Joy Kenya Services Limited, to provide an insight to the incident. For Channel 1 News, I'm Serfine Achieng, Ouma. Today as well, colleges were reopening, and strict adherence to COVID-19 prevention protocols and innovations are being touted as the keys to success in implementing phased reopening of institutions of higher learning. As Jackie Wambiru reports, colleges across the country have opened their gates to third and final year students as the Ministry of Education rules out mass screening of students for COVID-19, even as it tests waters ahead of the total resumption of learning. Let's have a look at that story by Jackie Wambiru.
October 5th, 2020, Kenyan universities and colleges began phased-out reopening to learners after closing for about 7 months due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Top-ranking Ministry of Education officials spent the better part of Monday assessing colleges across the country. State Department for Vocational and Technical Training Principal Secretary Dr. Julius Juan inspected institutions in Uasin Gishu and Nandi counties and read the Riot Act to principals who failed to adhere to the COVID-19 preventive measures.
Their temperatures will be checked every day in the morning. They have hand-washing points all over the institution. They have sanitizers placed all over the institution. What he means now is to keep engaging the learners so that they appreciate what is being done to keep them safe.
In Mombasa, Education Chief Administrative Secretary Mumina Bonaya expressed satisfaction with the preparedness at Shanzu Teachers Training College, calling on other institutions to follow suit and provide a conducive environment for learners.
They've done much of what is expected of them. They've fulfilled social distancing 100%. The students are spaced out in each of the classes quite well. The hostels are spaced out well, observing the protocol, the social distance that is expected. The only thing probably they need to improve on this afternoon is to improve, to add more water points.
At the same time, Basic Education Principal Secretary Dr. Belio Kipsang was in Narok and Bomet counties, where he urged technical and vocational education and training institutions to be innovative and manufacture personal protective equipment, sanitizers and detergents to facilitate safe learning.
The best that we can do is to be able to do proper screening, body temperature and all that. That is why we have, and this institution, like so many, like all the others, they have temperature guns so that they'll be able to be testing the students as they go to class, as they go to the dining hall. So that screening is very important.
Concerning mass testing of students' post-training skills and development, Principal Secretary Dr. Alfred Cheruyot, speaking at Maseno University in Kisumu County, rolled out such an exercise, saying it would financially burden parents.
Quite a few of them already reported. We expect that we have planned that they will start doing their final examinations this Wednesday, that is the day of tomorrow. That's what they will do here. We have provided the necessary facilities.
At the University of Nairobi, Vice Chancellor Professor Gitahi Kiama welcomed the reopening of institutions of higher learning, acknowledging the crucial role of technology in facilitating virtual learning.
We supported both staff and the students riding on our robust ICT infrastructure in the university to ensure that all our operations, examination, teaching and learning are all migrated online.
Professor Kiama, however, pointed out various challenges institutions are facing as they open doors to learners.
The only thing is that we cannot bring so many at the same time, especially because of the accommodation, where they are accommodated, because we can only accommodate a few at a time.
Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Jackie Wambiru.
Now, still staying on matters education, the Kenya National Union of Teachers is calling for the immediate release of the national school calendar to help tutors and learners plan on how to make up for the lost time caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The Teachers Union says upon reopening of learning institutions, the government should ensure the safety of students and teachers.
During the celebrations to mark this year's World Teachers' Day, Kenya National Union of Teachers called on the government to reopen schools and practically assess how learning can progress without jeopardizing the health of students and teachers.
And we are saying now more than ever before, we need the children back to school now. Children are safer in school than at home. We've seen this debate. And as a union, we've agreed, watoto warudi shuleni as early as possible. COVID will not go away. It is here with us.
KNUT Secretary General Wilson Sosion says the COVID-19 pandemic has all indications of a chronic malady, and the sooner we accept the situation and resume normal activities, the better.
The school calendar should be rescheduled. We'll have shorter Christmas times in case we do so. And we'll have almost no weekends. We will use our time that is available to cover the lost time, so that by the end of 2022, if that agreement still stands, we shall be able to recover the 24 weeks that have been lost.
Director General in the Ministry of Education, Elias Abdi, emphasized the need for clear policies and COVID-19 guidelines before the reopening of schools to avoid learning institutions becoming the epicenter of infections.
After developing the guideline, we also developed the training modules that is targeting the teachers. And these modules are available. Before the end of the week, we'll upload it in the Ministry of Education's website. We developed it jointly with the TSC so that our teachers can stay safe from this pandemic.
At the same time, the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers is calling on the government to regulate alternative learning platforms and promote the production of digital open access content at all levels of education as learning institutions open their doors.
Reorienting teacher training to infuse critical skills that meet the needs of today's technologized workplace. Teachers should be at ease using, producing, or adapting internet-based learning materials.
The World Teachers Day commemorates the signing of the UNESCO ILO recommendation concerning the status of teachers, which sets the standards relating to teachers' training, recruitment, management in service, professional development, and working environment. This year's theme is Leading in Crisis, Reimagining the Future. Beatrice Gatonyeng-Etich, Channel 1 News.
Thank you, Beatrice Gatonyeng-Etich, for that report. We continue to celebrate our teachers on this World Teachers Day, and we urge that more will be done to ensure their safety, even as they keep themselves busy at this particular time with plans to reopen institutions of learning in the country. And of course, at this particular juncture, we want to celebrate one Mrs. Wanjala, a retired principal of Moi Girls Kamusinga. This was sent in by Rebecca Masinde and Marion Kalai. They celebrate their retired teacher, Mrs. Wanjala. And all of you who are sharing with us on social media, Peter Karis Mahinga, you're watching us from Mahinga Ward in Othaya. Peter Karis, sorry for that. Rashid Kipchumba, you're watching from Kapsabet in Nandi County. Wino Mami, you're watching from Kisumu in Maseno. Thank you so much. I want you to celebrate your teachers tonight. Why don't you send in the name of the teacher that you celebrate, and we can use this platform to appreciate their dedicated service to humanity. Now, away from that, we want to focus on matters COVID-19. The Ministry of Health says it is puzzled by an emerging trend of rising COVID-19 infections in the counties previously perceived to be low risk. This comes as the country recorded 22 positive cases from a sample size of 595 in the last 24 hours, the lowest figures to be reported in months. Emily K. Bade now reports.
Nakuru, Trans Nzoia, Kisumu, Mombasa and Nairobi counties have in the past 1 week recorded high numbers of coronavirus infections. Nairobi County continues to lead with the number of reported confirmed positive cases at 20,971, followed by Mombasa with 2,969 cases.
Kiambu, a neighboring county and part of the metropolitan Nairobi area, is third with 2,776. Kajiado is at number 4 with 1,981 cases. Machakos, number 5 with 1,340 cases. All these counties are considered to be part of the sections of them are part of the greater Nairobi metropolitan area.
Chief Administrative Secretary Rashid Aman says medical experts and researchers in the country are keenly studying the emerging pattern.
These are being conducted globally, including by our own scientists here in the country, to not only come up with a vaccine, but also on establishing a firm understanding of the epidemiology and behavioral pattern of the spread of this virus so that we could understand it better and deal with it better.
On Monday, the Ministry of Health reported 22 new cases from a sample size of 595, bringing the total number of confirmed cases in the country to 39,449. During the same period, 376 people were given a clean bill of health, increasing the total recoveries to 27,035. Currently, the death toll from COVID-19 in the country now stands at 735 after 4 patients succumbed to the disease. Meanwhile, the United States government, through the U.S. Agency for the International Development, USAID, has donated 200 new state-of-the-art ventilators to boost the country's fight against COVID-19.
A promise come true between President Trump and President Kenyatta, and that is by donating 200 ventilators to Kenya that can be used to treat critically ill COVID-19 patients and those who require breathing support for other conditions. And we look forward to His Excellency Kenyatta officially receiving these in the near future.
Globally, over 35 million people have been diagnosed with COVID-19, with over 1 million succumbing to the disease, according to a tally by Johns Hopkins University. Almost 26.6 million patients have recovered. For Channel 1 News, I am Emily K. Bade.
Now, moving on, 3 suspects implicated in the 2013 Westgate Mall attack will know their fate on Tuesday afternoon. Chief Magistrate Francis Andai is expected to deliver the eagerly awaited ruling at the Milimani Law Courts after considering all the evidence in the case. Serfine Robi gives us more details.
The Westgate Mall attack in Nairobi, the tapping for over 4 days in September 2013, claimed 67 lives and left dozens injured. 4 people were charged with 12 counts separately and jointly, including commission of a terrorist act and conspiracy to commit a terrorist act contrary to the Prevention of the Terrorism Act. However, one was acquitted due to insufficient evidence, leaving 3 to face the music. 7 years later, the matter will be put to rest. Hussein Hassan Mustafa, Liban Abdullah and Aden Dek will now know their fate on Tuesday afternoon. Chief Magistrate Francis Ndai said he'll deliver the ruling on Tuesday the 6th of October at 2 p.m.
It needs that time the way we have taken time to hear the matter and determine it. So we'll deliver the judgment. You'll give me just a little more time, just a little.
Choose any 4 days in February.
Meanwhile, Chief Magistrate Douglas Ogoti has adjourned the hearing of 8 million shillings graft case involving Busia Governor Sospita Ujamong and 8 others to October the 12th. This is after the High Court stayed the proceedings following an application by Ujamong to halt the case, citing witness intimidation and evidence tampering. The defense accuses the prosecution, led by Taib Ali Taib, of witness coaching, evidence tampering, and witness threat intimidation. For Channel 1 News, I'm Serafina Robi.
Thank you, Serafina, for that report. Remember, we are celebrating our teachers tonight. I'd like to appreciate Edward Rono Sarma. You're watching and saying, I celebrate my mathematics teacher, the late Mr. Saronei. Benjamin Nyamu, watching from Garissa. I celebrate myself as a teacher of math and physics. Patrick Murerwa, I celebrate all Angaine Secondary School teachers, starting with the principal, Mr. Githinji. Stephen Oroni, you're watching from Andungosi. Straighton Olwatch from Migori. Thank you for the compliment as well. Apesh Christine, watching from Ongata Rongai, and wishing me a happy birthday. Thank you so much, all of you who are watching. Remember, we are celebrating our teachers tonight. Keep on doing that. I will be sharing some of your feedback when we come back from this short break that you're taking right now. Do stay with us.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Coca-Cola, taste the simple joys.
We need this win, Wanjala. You have to win.
They are fearless, yet friendly.
I hope hauna machungu after ile game ya mwisho.
I'm allowed to be concerned about you, Wanjala. I'm your wife.
I will take good care of you. Fierce, yet fair.
Pa combo sasa. Pa!
Firm, yet faultless.
You embarrassed Mom. All of us.
But it would be nice if someone would look out for me too. You don't listen to me. Because you always want to tell me how to... Jemo unadu nini hapa? You are embarrassing me.
Kona, Kenya's daily drama.
Taina train ya tona muhimu sana kwa life yangu. Kwa hivyo vile mimi nafanya hapa ni upuzi.
Naweza kukusaidia kujua ni akina nani?
Mimi siwezi chukua msaada kutoka kwa Saitani. What is this? It's a make or break chance.
Your fun, fabulous, full team of Kona. Every fine weekday, right here on KBC Channel 1. Next on.
Are you challenging me? I'm simply advising you that I intend to fight for her. Because Margarita has been, and is, the only woman of my life.
In love with Ramon.
We now want to cross over to the counties, and we begin in Migori, where elders from the Kuria community have been castigated for commercializing female genital mutilation. This follows a huge number of young girls who have undergone the cut in the past 3 days after the official launch of a committee to help fight female genital mutilation in Migori. Elsewhere, residents of Kaiti in Makueni County are now calling on the government to crack the whip on the sale and consumption of drugs and illicit brew in the area.
Though female genital mutilation has since been declared illegal in the country, close to 53 girls in Migori have fled their homes for rescue camps as circumcisers go after girls as young as 9 years old. Some of the anti-FGM crusaders say that elders have been making a kill from the outlawed practice. The traditional circumcisers allegedly earn between 500 to 1,000 shillings from each victim.
Many of my friends, they were cut and they suffered clinical cancer, and some of them were married off.
Residents of Kaiti in Makueni County have called on the government to crack the whip on the sale and consumption of drugs and illicit brew in the area. The residents who spoke during a burial of a young man who was killed after a disagreement in a drinking den claim police are turning a blind eye on the legal business that continues to cost lives.
Tunaumia sana juu ya wale wanauza pombe haramu na bangi, sababu wa kuwaonga serikali. Hatuna pali tunaweza kujitetea. Pali unaweza kujitetea ni kwa ofisi ama serikali, na hawezi wakakusikia sababu umeenda mkono mtupu, na huyu kila mwezi ama kila wiki anapeleka 10,000.
This is a somber mood engulfed Kapcha Planga, Londiani in Kericho County, following the death of a renowned Kalenjin artist, Hamon Rono, aka Rhino Kaboom, who passed on Sunday evening in a grisly road accident at Emening, Baringo County.
Tunafurahia nyimbo zake, hata kuna nyimbo nyingine alikuwa amerudishia Mungu shukrani. Kwa sababu yeye amefanikiwa, ameimba.
The musician, who was riding a motorbike when he was involved in a head-on collision with a Toyota Probox, died on the spot. And Machaka's Governor Dr. Alfred Mutua has unveiled a nationwide listening forum as he positions himself for the 2022 presidential bid.
Jambo la aibu sana, na pia jambo ambalo linakiuka akili kwa vijana kutumiwa na wanasiasa kulete vurugu za kisiasa, na hao wanaume na wanawake wa vijana ndio wanauawa.
Agriculture experts in Kisii County have issued advisory to farmers geared towards mitigating the impact of below-average rainfall expected this season. Crops and livestock officers from the Ministry of Agriculture advised farmers to utilize the minimum rains maximally to ensure continued food security in the area.
For those farmers who are large-scale banana farmers, we advise them to secure contract farming.
The county government of Samburu has constructed a new road which will be a shortcut to Latakweni Trading Centre, opening up several small trading centres. Residents previously walked for 2 hours to reach the trading centre, but will take half an hour to cover the same distance.
Tunashukuru sana serikali yetu ya county wametusaidia kwa sababu vile sasa hii barabara imefungulika, imekata kilometers ya kusunguka Ndoto. Hiyo sasa tunashukuru. Kwa sababu sasa tukitaka kupita Latakweni tumepata njia rahisi ya kupita.
Finally, the government has injected 60 million shillings for the operationalization of a stalled ginnery by the end of November 2020 in Busia County. The ginnery had closed down for a decade, leading to job losses and stumbled economy of cotton-producing areas like Samia and Teso North, respectively. Caroline Kamar reporting for Channel 1 Nizar.
Now we want to focus on what has been making news in the world of business. Now, the Council of Governors are the latest to join the group opposed to the regulations published by the Ministry of Agriculture. The governors say they are moving to court to challenge what they term as an illegal and unconstitutional process in the drafting of the new tea regulations.
The Crops Regulations 2020, commonly known as the New Tea Regulations, came into force in May 2020. Agriculture Minister Peter Munya gave all tea sector players 2 months to familiarize themselves with the new regulatory requirements and create their own internal implementation capacity. However, the new regulations elicited opposition from industry players, which saw the Kenya Tea Development Agency successfully challenge the implementation in July. And on Monday, the Council of Governors deliberated the new tea regulations and resolved to reject them, as has been the case with other industry players.
It is a coup being carried out by the ministry, against the county government as far as the tea reforms are concerned.
Munya had proposed that the Kenya Tea Development Agency be reverted to the government, a proposal that the governors are also against.
KTDA belongs to farmers and cannot revert to government. As such, KTDA reform should be undertaken by the farmers to suit their needs. Further oversight should be undertaken by the county governments.
The Council of Governors now want Agriculture CS to withdraw the new regulations with immediate effect to allow for further consultations with stakeholders such as county governments.
We must be entrenched as we should and do what has been occasioned to us by the Constitution.
While publishing the new tea regulations, Munya gave tea industry players until the end of March next year to comply. Yusuf Farah, Channel 1 Business.
Thank you, Yusuf Farah, for that report. Now on to matters coffee production. Coffee producers are calling on authorities to enhance policing of the use of agrochemicals, noting that Kenyan coffee is facing challenges in accessing some markets due to chemical contamination. The Kenya Coffee Producers Association further wants the national and county governments to focus on ways to boost coffee production, which currently averages 2 kilos per tree annually, to the ideal of 30 kilos.
The annual coffee production stands at 40,000 metric tons, with a majority of the smallholder coffee farmers harvesting less than 2 kilograms per tree annually, against an annual potential of 35 kilograms per tree per year. Farmers say the Ministry of Agriculture has, instead of focusing on boosting production, focused on the finer details of how the coffee is marketed.
The government has not put in place specific regulation or mechanism to address low coffee production. Most of the government-led initiatives are focused more on the marketing and very little on production. As a result, production has continued to decline over the years, spelling doom for an industry that is a source of livelihood for over 5 million Kenyans, both directly and indirectly.
Higher than acceptable chemical residues and ochratoxin has led to the flagging of Kenyan coffee in the Japanese market. Such happenings, the farmers say, could be gaps on certification procedures for coffee, agrochemicals, and inadequate capacity of farmers on post-harvest handling.
It is therefore worrying that a key market of Kenya coffee is under big threat. Some of these reasons for this happening could be gaps on certification procedures for coffee agrochemicals, inadequate capacity of farmers on post-harvest handling of coffee, gaps on coffee export regulation and enforcement. The way forward.
With 95% of Kenya's coffee exported, they say there is need for concerted efforts to promote domestic coffee consumption.
Concerted efforts to promote domestic coffee consumption, e.g. by tax waivers of coffee roasters and packaging materials, promote and create awareness of health benefit of coffee in the wake of coronavirus, that is in building the immunity.
When COVID-19 hit, containment measures as well as border closures led to increased production costs and reduced coffee sales. Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
Now, over 500 farmers in 4 counties have embraced organic farming after undergoing extensive training courtesy of a joint initiative by local NGOs. The farmers drawn from Nakuru, Kiambu, Machakos and Muranga have gone ahead to establish markets for organic farm produce and animal products across the country. A visit to one of the farms in Rongai, Nakuru County shows that organic farming is fast gaining ground as Kenyan farmers seek to have quality produce, attain higher yields and protect their soils against destructive agrochemicals. Emily K. Bade with that story.
It is a hot and humid morning at Visoi village in Rongai sub-county, Nakuru County. 55-year-old Stella Njoroge is busy harvesting vegetables at her 5-acre farm. Today is market day and she has to take the fresh farm produce to the market. Every week, Stella sells vegetables worth over 7,000 shillings. She is one of the over 500 farmers who have embraced organic farming after undergoing training through a joint venture by Participatory Ecological Land Use Management Association, PELAM, and Community Sustainable Agriculture and Healthy Environment Program.
I went for training. I went to different farms to learn how to do it. And there's an office called C-Shape. I went there. I did a 1 week's training on how to do it, on how to grow my crops with organic fertilizers or organic pesticides.
Stella states that demand for organic food locally and globally is growing as more consumers become conscious about what they eat and want to only consume safe products and shun crops laden with pesticides.
I also started becoming cautious of myself also. What am I eating? Then I started looking for knowledge and trying to find out how best can we grow our crops without synthetic pesticides.
Esther Wangari, the project manager at CSA HEP, says through the program, organic farmers are encouraged to show a sign of degree of honesty, trustworthiness, and transparency to create confidence among buyers of organic produce.
If this farmer is an organic farmer and he has decided to use something else that is not organic, you cannot go far. We will catch up with you.
According to PELAM country coordinator Zachary Makanya, his organization is working with 57 agricultural community-based organizations in promoting environmentally friendly access to traditional seeds by organic farmers before linking them to local and international markets.
We are also trying to promote encouraging farmers to recover raw seeds. You know, there are so many things which were there in the past. They got lost somehow they were replaced by exotic seed.
Through agrobiodiversity training, smallholder farmers are able to conserve near extinct traditional crops by learning how to preserve their high-quality genetic material. Makanya says demand for organic food in Kenya has increased by 500%, while globally consumption of the food has increased by 100% from 2008 to date.
In peri-urban areas, the only kind of agriculture which can do very well is organic farming, because you can be able to produce a lot of food in a very small area.
More than 85% of organic produce in Kenya is exported mainly to Europe, the Middle East, Asia and the Far East. For Channel 1 News, I am Emily K. Bade.
And the government is spending 3 billion shillings on 3 technical colleges to elevate them to centers of excellence in technical training. Vocational and Technical Training Principal Secretary Dr. Julius Joan says the 3, namely Kiambu, Thika and Nairobi technical colleges, are being equipped with the state-of-the-art equipment.
The government has prioritized science, technology, engineering and mathematics under the Big Four agenda to support the manufacturing agenda as the country seeks to increase the contribution of the sector to 15% of GDP in 2 years. The program will see TVET institutions upgraded and equipped with modern equipment.
We need to get them equipment, modern equipments in various areas of training, and because KTC has a lot of capacity. And then 3, we'll also need to relook at their curriculum that we use for training the principals.
The upgrade of the TVET institutions is part of a joint Kenyan-German initiative for the youth empowerment that aims to provide young people with employment opportunities through practical, industry-led vocational training. The pact was signed between Kenya and Germany in 2016, according to Bernard Leikheimer, head of cluster at GIZ, which is Germany's development arm.
The overall headline and the key message for the Sustainable Economic Development Cluster is creating jobs and bringing people into employment. The German government has commissioned, on the one hand, GIZ and on the other hand, KfW, the German Development Bank, to implement a number of projects, and all of them basically follow one goal: to create employment, to skill people and to bring them into labor.
The program entails providing training and placing graduates on internships to increase their competitiveness to transition into jobs.
Because a lot of the time we have our TVET graduates even doing research projects, and some of these research projects are not based on industry needs. But if we have the trainers having access to industry, they'll be able to better guide the students on areas that require interventions and even help them to develop some of those projects.
Under the deal with manufacturers, students will spend 50% of their time in TTIs. The remaining 50% will be used to apply the theoretical knowledge gained in class in an actual work environment.
And you can now file taxes, declare monthly rental income, claim and declare turnover tax, among other tax services, from the convenience of your mobile phone following the introduction of a mobile tax application. Kenya Revenue Authority Deputy Commissioner in charge of Policy and Tax Advisory, Caxton Musudi, says the mobile platform is part of KRA's strategy to improve customer interaction and widen tax compliance, especially among those in the informal sector.
The Kenya Revenue Authority says during the period between July and September 2020, tax performance improved from 80% to 90%, lifted by the easing of COVID-19 restrictions.
We have factored all this in the determination of the targets for 2020-2021. So what is our prognosis? What do we see in the future? We are already seeing a comeback of business, and we are also seeing a comeback in revenue collection.
In efforts to widen the tax bracket, KRA is leveraging on a mobile application that offers more functions, including those that were previously exclusively accessible in its offices.
After introducing our systems were basically to help KRA initially collect revenue. But with the time, we have gone customer-centric. We are now creating a customer-focused systems.
So unlike the previous dispensational situation where you had to find monthly turnover tax, now you can file it daily so that it makes your work easier at the end of the month. So that feature was delivered in March, and in April, we also delivered simplified PIN registration for people who do not have a PIN certificate or a PIN number. You can now actually apply for a PIN number or a PIN certificate on this mobile platform and be able to get a PIN certificate for your own use.
KRA hopes to net an additional 10 billion shillings from the coming into force of a new excise duty regime this month, targeting petroleum products, alcoholic and non-alcoholic, as well as tobacco products.
The government has embarked on a mission to increase the tax base from the informal sector from the current 5 million to 50 million with the launch of a new mobile application. However, there are some that have reservations on this new development. Alan Aoko reporting for Channel on Business in Nairobi.
Now, some good news in the sporting arena. Health Chief Administrative Secretary Dr. Rashid Aman has confirmed that the friendly match between the national soccer team Harambee Stars and Zambia that is scheduled for Friday, October 9th, 2020 at the Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani, Nairobi, will now go on as planned.
Health Chief Administrative Secretary Dr. Rashid Aman, while giving the daily update on the COVID-19 situation in the country, confirmed that the game had been given the green light to happen with strict adherence to COVID-19 regulations.
This matter, of course, came to the ministry, and I can tell you that their plans are on track. They have been given the concurrence by both their parent ministry, the Ministry of Sports and Culture, as well as the Ministry of Health, of course, provided that they stick to the protocols that have been provided for opening up of sports of that nature. So I think fans should look forward to this friendly match, and I understand there are two of them. The first one is with Zambia. So I think fans can look forward to that encounter.
Dr. Aman's announcement clears one of the many hurdles brought about by the global outbreak of the coronavirus that faced head coach Francis Kimanzi as he assembles a star squad for AFCON 2021 qualifiers. A total of 11 local-based players out of the 17 named in the 34-man provisional squad reported to camp at Safari Park yesterday in readiness for Friday's clash. Kenya faces Comoros in November in back-to-back Group G matches. Zambia, on the other hand, is using the clash to get their qualifying campaign back on track after two opening defeats have left them bottom of Group H.
And football stakeholders in Mwingi, Kitui County, are calling for inclusivity in the development of the sport while leading youths in training and a mini tournament dubbed the Patrick Gitonga Tournament. The shareholders believe that with sporting activities in the country set to resume soon, the government should be keen in ensuring development of the game is reciprocated even in rural areas.
Ningeuliza pia county government na national government kwa wizara ya michezo ili wateremke huku mashinani, wakuje kuko na talents mingi, kuja wachukue na tutapata timu nzuri sana ya Harambee Stars. Na plan tena December ama January kukuwa tena na mechi ambayo itakuwa ya pia tutahusisha wanadada, na pia ningeomba FKF nikimwomba president ili wateremke pia na hao kwa mashinani.
Ningetaka kuuliza serikali ni ikumbuke kwamba hata mashinani kuna players wazuri, kuna timu nzuri, watukumbuke pia na upande wa uniform usipute kwa wingi, bado tuko na timu mpaka tuko na timu B, tuko na timu C, wakumbuke. So bado na iwe hata wanakumbuka kuwaweka katika ligi.
Huko kuna vijana wako na talent ya football. Wangekuja huku at least kusema kama education ipate kitu, pia unaweza promotiwa uende ukachezea kama Madhari, Nyete, kama hiyo.
And now on to some international sports news. Midfielder Aaron Ramsey has been ruled out of Wales' friendly match against England on Thursday. Ramsey's club Juventus put their squad in isolation on Sunday after 2 non-playing staff members tested positive for COVID-19. Meanwhile, Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp has confirmed that first-choice goalkeeper Alisson will be out of action for 4 to 6 weeks due to a shoulder injury.
Aaron Ramsey will miss Wales' Wembley friendly against England after his club Juventus pulled their players into a biosecure bubble. The 29-year-old will now miss the match against England but could feature against the Republic of Ireland and Bulgaria in the Nations League later this month. Wales also confirmed striker Hal Robson-Kanu has withdrawn from the squad through injury ahead of Thursday's trip to Wembley. After facing England, Wales take on the Republic of Ireland in Dublin on Sunday before travelling to face Bulgaria on October 14th. Meanwhile, Liverpool man
Grealish outside the boot. It's a great ball. Watkins now with Trezeguet in the middle. Will he go it alone? Ollie Watkins sets himself looking for number 2 and driving into the top corner.
And that's the latest in terms of your sporting action. And remember, tonight we were celebrating our teachers. Before we wrap it up, Elizabeth Johnson, thank you for watching us from Norway. Veronica Kimani, you're celebrating Mr. Kandei, your primary school English teacher, and Mrs. Rosalind Chege, your business studies teacher. Nixon Nyaosi from Kapsabet, you're celebrating your wife Pauline Kemunto. You're wishing her a happy Teachers Day. Dami Kobana, thank you for the birthday wish. And you celebrate Father Ucho primary school teachers and teachers of Sironga Girls High School. Eddie Skylar watching live from Bungoma. Happy Teachers Day. Raymond Barak, you're also watching us. Thank you so much. Boniface Dikailo, you're watching from Machakos. Celestine Mora Michi celebrating all the teachers in Kisii. And of course, we can go on and on. We celebrate all our teachers. Mrs. Wanjala, retired teacher of Moi Girls Kamusinga. We celebrate you all, and all that we could not mention your names, we really recognize your dedicated service to humanity tonight. My name is Serfine Achieng Ouma. Thank you so much for watching. Our sign language interpreter has been Simon Karodha. Right now we are paving way for the latest weather forecast brought to you by Yusufara. Have a lovely night.
Degrees Celsius make Narok the coldest tonight. Dry weather conditions continue to dominate most parts of the country, with the exception of the western sector where there will be rainfall. Good evening. Many thanks once again for keeping it Channel 1. My name is Yusuf Farah. This is your Channel 1 weather updates. Now, Tuesday morning, this is how we wake up. A bright morning in most parts of the country. Sunny intervals starting all the way from the northeastern region, Garissa, Mandera, Isiolo, all the way to the coastal region. For residents of Mombasa, expect sunny intervals with partly cloudy conditions. In the afternoon, there will be rainfall accompanied by thunderstorms in Kitale and Eldoret. For residents of Meru and Nyeri, however, expect showers with sunny intervals. For residents of the coastal region, Mombasa, Kwale, all the way to Lamu, expect partly cloudy conditions with sunny intervals. As far as the temperatures are concerned, Lodwar starting off at 37, lows of 27. Kisumu, highs of 28, lows of 20. And here in Nairobi, highs of 27, lows of 15. That is all for the local weather forecast. I leave you with the international weather forecast. Many thanks again for keeping it Channel 1. Do have yourselves a lovely night.